it's Anne from Line and Circle, and I just want to give you a few tips on brakes and paddles so that you can try this at home and maybe find some more time and space inside your technique. In this tutorial, we will be moving sequentially and step-by-step building towards a strategy for integrating brakes and paddles into your flow. First tip that we want to think about is that paddling and braking are two different actions, and in fact they are opposing actions. The act of paddling accelerates the hoop in its current, pushes it along, speeds it up, and the action of the brake stops the hoop in its current. So all of the movements that need to go along with paddling are different and distinct from the movements that need to go along with braking. And when we brake and paddle, when we mix those together, we have to switch strategies in the middle of switching those actions. As we check out these techniques in the big hoop, we are going to work on them on the waist first. That's another important thing to remember. You can work on paddles and brakes at the waist first and learn something about all of the body's actions that are feeding into a successful paddle and a successful brake. And then you can translate that up to the shoulders, and I'll show you that on this tutorial. Okay, we're gonna start on the waist. We're gonna start with the paddle, and we're gonna start with the leading arm. And that's the same arm that corresponds to whatever current you're in. And that doesn't matter if you're braking or paddling. We're gonna be using the leading arm for all of our examples in this tutorial so that you can remain oriented to which arm you're using. The arm you're going to be using to touch the hoop is going to be the same arm as the current your hoop is flowing in. Those of you who have taken classes or workshops with me before probably know what the first thing I'm going to talk about is. That's right, it's going to be the feet. Because we're talking about paddling, we're talking about accelerating the hoop, we really want to think about turning with the hoop. Turn. That's right.
Everything turn, turn.
Just like the word said.
There is a season.
To everything there is a season, and paddling is the season for turning with the hoop. So as you get comfortable with that, think about matching your steps each to each, making each step equal to the last step. I'm going to try to get so you can see my feet here. Not quite, but you can get the idea. And when we paddle the hoop, we're going to use the leading arm. We're going to stick the arm inside the current, and we're going to push the hoop along. Believe me, practicing this at the hoop, at the waist, and at the hoop, with a big hoop, is really going to help you get this action of paddling. Practicing this at the waist with a big hoop is really going to help you get that accelerating action. You're going to wait for that moment when an opportunity arises to paddle the hoop, to stick the arm in, and to push the hoop along from the inner wall. We can also paddle from outer space, but that's a different tutorial. And then, of course, we are going to try our opposite current. Because I'm here in Carver, North Carolina, we do everything in both currents with both hands. And so, practicing in the opposite current, and then when you're ready, you can come up to the shoulders with your big hoop, and you can start paddling with your leading arm, again, the same arm that you're turning towards, and you stick the arm up into the current from below. You can actually also do it from above the current, but again, different tutorial, we're not doing that this time. We're going to be pushing the hoop along from underneath the current. The leading arm. You can use the other arm, but not in this tutorial. And whenever you're ready, of course, we're going to go in the opposite current and practice paddling with that opposite arm as well. Always turning, always turning. All right, now we're ready to start all over again. We're going to talk about braking the hoop. Now, braking the hoop is stopping the hoop. And something very different happens within the course of a brake. Instead of turning, 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 and moving along with the current, when a brake starts to happen, you start to stop. That starts with the feet. The feet stop first. So in the course of a break, when a break starts to happen, you start to stop the hoop from the outer wall. The feet come to a stop. And then, the really important part, you twist with the hoop into the break. Just like Chubby Checker said, do the twist, really twist into it. Really let that break happen. Don't make it happen, let it happen. Okay, that's an important thing to think about whenever you're doing anything with the hoop. The hoop needs to be allowed to move within the realm of its nature. And in these actions, we are cooperating with the form of the hoop as it is. So I'm turning with the hoop. When I'm ready to break the hoop, I'm going to come outside the circle and twist into that break. My feet are going to stop, and the twist is what carries and transforms that existing momentum. Now, when we go up to the shoulders, the same thing's going to be true. I'm just breaking with my leading hand. Here's my leading hand. My hoop is going to the left. I'm using my left hand. Break, feet stop turning, upper body twists. The break comes, upper body twists, feet stop turning. And as you see, as you bring these breaks closer and closer together with fewer and fewer revolutions between them, you start to understand how maybe you might get to a place where you're not actually turning with the hoop at all because you're just bouncing between two breaks. And this is where we're going to slip the paddle in. But you can work your way up to this slowly. Now we're ready to stitch these two actions together, and again, we're going to go back to the waist, back to the big hoop, and start off by putting these two actions together at a slow pace so that we can understand and study and feel our way into what's going on. So I'm turning with my hoop, I'm paddling with my leading arm. Then when I'm ready to break with my leading arm, I realize that I have an opportunity to begin a paddle with what is now my leading arm in the opposite current. I can recognize that easily at the waist with a big hoop. I break the hoop with my leading arm in one current, then the opposite arm is now ready to become a paddle in the opposite current. Pretty nifty. I know, it's amazing. So, break, paddle, break, paddle, break, paddle, and then up on the shoulders, of course, you can start again with paddling with the leading arm in the existing current. Then when you're ready to break, change the current of the hoop. Then you can bring that leading hand outside the current, catch the hoop in a break, and now, whoops, the opposite arm, it's hard to hold this up here, the opposite arm is ready to come into the current and paddle the hoop in the opposite current. All right, and now it's the leading arm. It's going to catch the hoop in a break. Opposite arm comes up in a paddle. Break, paddle. Break, paddle. Break, paddle. Break, paddle. So I'm slowing this down to show you that you can get faster slowly. A lot of us want to get fast and ninja on the hoop. And you can get faster if you start slowly. That's my experience after 9 years in the hoop. So I offer you that today. Break, paddle, break, paddle. Then you can work your way up to maybe some closer repetitions, not so many revolutions in between. Break, paddle, break, paddle, break, paddle, break, paddle, and so on. So then, what's really cool is you can repeat all these steps with your smaller hoop. You can start at the waist, turning slowly, paddling slowly with the leading arm, catching the hoop, paddling into the opposite current, breaking, twisting, paddling the opposite current, Braking, twisting, paddle. Brake, paddle, brake, paddle, brake, paddle, brake, paddle. And then brake, paddle, catching the brake, paddle, brake, paddle, brake, paddle, brake, paddle, brake, paddle. Yeah, and then you can just do it until you go crazy.
Fly around my honey, fly around my pretty little miss.